And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Ryan Metzler.
Hey everybody, it's Ryan Metzler here again, and today we're going to take a look at the Draw One, Play One card game, Zombie Run for Your Lives, from Right Games. This is a Russian publisher, and this is a game where you're trying to basically collect 5 unique items before your opponents do, or give 5 zombies to your opponents before they can collect 5 unique items, and they'll be bumped out of the game. So real quick, we'll take a look at what comes inside of this box and how the game plays, and then we'll come back here and we'll get my final opinion on Zombie Run for Your Lives. So here you can see the deck of Zombies Run for Your Lives. Now this deck of cards has been dealt out to the players already, and each player has 4 cards. The game plays 3 to 7 players. Inside this deck of cards, there are essentially 3 different types of cards. There are unbearable zombies. These are cards that can never be gotten rid of once you have one in your play area. They're bad because if you accumulate 5 zombies, you die. There are also regular zombies that all have a symbol on them. This one, for example, has a bone symbol, and this is just a zombie. These will all have a symbol of some sort on them, so we can see that one has a bone, but this one here has a skull, or we have some other ones that have what appears to be a kidney or a liver. This one has a liver on it, sorry. They all have a symbol. In addition to that, you're going to have these white-backed cards that will have symbols on them as well. So, for example, this one is a baseball bat. It has a skull on it, which matches the skull on the headless zombie here, who looks like a baseball player. So the themes match up pretty well there. Now, the reason for this is you're trying to prevent zombies from being in your area. If you get 5, you lose, but you're also trying to accumulate 5 different items. And the trick is you can never have 2 cards in your area that have the same symbol. So you can never have a baseball bat and a headless zombie because they share the same symbol. So on your turn, you're going to have your hand of 4 cards, and you will first draw a card. And then you will play a card from your hand to either your own play area or your opponent's play area. Items get played to your own area, and zombies, of course, get played to your opponents because you're trying to kill them. But if you want on your turn, you can actually make an exception to that, and you can play an item to your opponent's area in order to draw an extra card and then play that card, or play a zombie to your area in order to draw an extra card and play that card, with the hopes of course, trying to get the item you need to win or another card you need to stop your opponent from winning. So there's kind of an exception where you can break the rules of the game in order to get an extra turn, but it's going to either help your opponent or be a detriment to you. But anyhow, let's say on my turn I play my baseball bat. And that is now in my area. I'm 1/5 of the way towards winning the game. And then my opponent decides to look at his hand, and he says, oh, well, I don't want that to happen. I'm going to play this zombie to his play area. And since the symbols match, we have 2 skulls. These get removed from the game. They go into the discard pile, and nobody has anything on their play area anymore. Of course, he would have drawn a card first. Then our next player would be able to play a card, and maybe he plays this lung zombie over to our 3rd player, or our 4th player. So he now has a lung zombie in his play area, with 4 cards remaining in his hand. And our last player picks up his cards and looks at what he has. Well, he can't get rid of that lung zombie. He doesn't have the appropriate card to destroy it. So maybe he just plays a different item out to his play area, the chainsaw, and he's now 1/5 of the way towards winning the game, but he's also 1/5 of the way towards losing the game. Now, note that this idea that you can't have 2 of the same symbols in your area means you also can't have 2 of the same zombies. So you must have either 5 different zombies to lose the game, or 5 different items to win the game. But your players who are playing against you are going to be trying to stop you from accumulating items by playing the appropriate zombies to your area, which will then cancel out your item and be removed from the game. In this manner, you're going to go around the table trying to collect 5 items or give your opponents 5 zombies, and if you're the last player standing, meaning that all of the other players got 5 zombies, you win the game. Otherwise, the first player to accumulate 5 different items will be the winner of Zombies Run for Your Lives. Well, there you have it. That is Zombie Run for Your Lives. It took me a long time to get this game to the table, and once I did, I found that it was rather lackluster. It is a draw one, play one card game, and that's fine. There are a couple of draw one, play one card games that I actually really enjoy. So that's not the main problem. The problem with the game is not even in the unique items. I like the fact that you have the items and you can only have 1 of each symbol out in front of you, and the fact that the good items counteract the bad items and your opponents can remove them from you in that manner. But when you combine those 2 things, the fact that your opponents can remove your cards by playing a matching symbol, and the fact that you're only playing 1 card per turn, you end up in a scenario where the game goes on forever. It goes on forever because you can never really make quick progress. If your opponents work together to stop you, and they'll have a whole turn to do so, they can easily take you from, being next to winning the game to the point where you're nowhere close to winning the game. And this happens anytime somebody gets close. So through, being able to have the items that you can play and kill the zombies, and having the zombies that you can play to kill the items, and so forth and so on, it it quickly goes from the point where you have 4 items to where you have 1 item and you're nowhere close to winning, and then you have 4 zombies and you're almost lost, and then you kill all your zombies with items and you're nowhere close to losing, and so forth and so on. But if your opponents all team up, of course, they can kill you out of the game, and I think the game is more likely to end in a way where you end up with too many zombies and you can no longer finish the game. You have 5 zombies, you can't win, and you're out. So at least it has that saving grace where maybe you can knock everybody else out rather than winning by collecting the items. With that said, not a very good game, simply because it really just doesn't have an endpoint, and it doesn't work that well. I can't really say more than that, but I can't really recommend this game. It has a neat little concept, but it just doesn't really deliver on the gameplay of implementing that concept.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.